Hey friends, how are you? I am just remembering right now to stream it correctly. So there we go. Sunrise, May 18th. And I'll even record it here on Telegram as well. Oh, look at that. Did it right. Wow, amazing. How's everybody doing? All right, good morning. Should be an interesting day. Let's just go through a few of these things. I bought RIBT as a swing trade a few days ago. Now, the story that goes back to following two different separate things. One is so RIBT. One is I followed a bunch of these Atlas Trading Room Yahoos, PJ Matlock, and then a bunch of others just piled on, just tons of people. Stock Playmaker, I really like this guy actually. Just a bunch of people started piling on to RIBT, and the list started growing and growing. So that got me interested in it originally. Then I dove a little bit deeper. And what I like about this is I like the commodity play. I like especially the food commodity play. And it doesn't mean like I'm planning on holding this for weeks or months, but not more than days. But I have started to accumulate some shares in this, and I have it. I have a little bit in my Tastyworks account, and then I have a little bit. Well, excuse me, I have a lot. I have 10,000 shares in my Robinhood account, so I do have it, and I generally don't recommend stocks after they start moving, so to speak. But I did, in this case, even today, publish this. Now, this is going to move a lot backwards and forwards because it is now sort of out there and there's a lot of people watching it. And it's very much possible. And I hate to say this, and I don't want to say it, and I'm not going to mention any names, but there are people who recommend these stocks and then will dump them off, the pump and dump stuff. And I don't think that's what's happened yet. I think this has a little bit more to go before that occurs. However, we did double body top here this morning on the 5-minute chart, and now we're underneath the volume weighted average price. So I'm just keeping my original stop in place. Um, and I'm just going to let this thing play out today. This is not the kind of chart that I would want to see. I loved it when it was above the VWAP, and now I hate it now that it's back down below it. I like the story, I like the possibility, but there is a history of some of these guys, and I'm not naming any names, and I don't want you to even think it's anybody that I've talked about so far. There is a history of these guys talking up a stock, it moves it pre-market, and then later on that day they go, it's not my fault, guys. I tell you what I'm buying, I don't tell you where I'm getting out. So I try to be really specific, as you already know. And I'm looking for this. So stop loss for me really goes underneath 50 for now. And then if you're not in this yet and you were considering it and you like the story and you do your own research, I like a buy above 73 cents. I'm in at 60 cents on that. So do with it what you will. And let's see if it can recover a bit. It's not doing well right now. And once a stock double body tops just like this and then goes below the VWAP, it is generally not a good thing. It's generally not what you want to see. So let's go ahead. If it jumps back above the VWAP, I'm not going to lie to you. I would want to buy 10,000 more shares because of there are so many people willing to trade this stock. So far today, probably traded 1 million to 2 million shares. It's got a float of 50 million. So it's going to have to do some work to catch up to that. All right, let's move on to other things. Just make sure everybody can hear me okay. Dave's here. Lucas is here. Dave says, new to your channel, want to throw out that NCMI may move today. Okay, great. This is exactly what we're here to do, Dave. So I'm going to take a look at that immediately, actually. See what you got in store for us. All right, let me break this down in terms of what we look at. So I'm glad you're new here. I'm glad to see you. I'm glad that the enthusiasm for this thing that we're doing is picking up. I might do this every day. This might become a show. I would love that. I'm on Twitter doing this. We're now on Telegram inside of the private groups doing this. I'm now on Facebook and YouTube, of course, doing this as well. So, Dave, what I like to see are low float stocks, generally under 50 million, preferably under 10 million shares on the float. This is a 79 million float. Those numbers aren't always accurate. It may even be higher than this. I like to see stocks with a low float trading millions of shares pre-market, which I think we're at a million or so on NCMI. That's good. I like to see that same stock jumping above the volume weighted average price, which is right here. If you go to indicators on TradingView and you type in volume weighted average price, you'll get it. It'll have a bunch of bands on it, but it will have a blue line in the middle. That'll be good. I like to see millions of shares, a stock that other people like, a stock with some news that and some fundamentals that encourage us to have a little bit of faith in it from a rational standpoint. I like to see the technicals, volume increasing above the volume weighted average price. All of those things. It's 3 or 4 or 5 conditions all together. And right now, in order for me to be interested in NCMI, we've got to get above $1.81. It's got to go above the volume weighted average price and above all of these sort of recent short-term pivot highs. It's got to get back above these levels. This is what I would call a Class B setup. This is Class B, and the reason I call it a Class B is it's sideways. RIBT would be a Class C, untradeable, really, right now. And it's just because it's below the volume weighted average price. However, we take a look at GNUS. This was a Class A today. So what I mean by that is it jumped above, especially that it did it around 7:15, 7:30 my time, 8:15, 8:30 a.m. Eastern time. Especially that it did that and stayed above the volume weighted average price. This is Class A. This is exactly what you want to see as far as technically speaking. Now, I haven't looked at the news and I haven't even looked at the float yet, but let's take a look at that. So 297 million shares on the float. That's dumb. That's a bummer. That's a real bummer. I wish it wasn't that high. But technically speaking, that's the way we want it to look, technically speaking. Let's see if anything else looks okay. MKD is kind of a Class B situation. NIO is kind of a Class B situation. ACST, that could go Class A if we get back above these levels. I like that this U shape here, it's kind of like the sunrise smile. That is a really positive development. What's the float on ACST? 31 million. All right, getting closer to something that we like, but we've got to get more volume in there. We've got to see it move higher. This is great. Agri has the smile. It's that pattern, which is beautiful. It has 11 million shares on the float. That's amazing. That's fantastic. It's above the volume weighted average price for the second time, creating this sort of U-shaped smile. That is exactly what we want to see. And I don't know what the news is here, but we can check the Twitter and see what people are saying about. Yeah, that's the one I'm looking at. Agri. Let's see. You just type a dollar symbol in front of it. Agri will keep, so PJ Matlock's all over this thing. So Agri is probably better than even RIBT. Agri forecast. Thanks to the guys of Dilution Tracker, they are amazing and educate for dilution and data stats. Main level $3, 2 ways, consolidation above 3, longs on dips, morning blow up, longs trapped and fail, waiting for the first 30 minutes. This guy, I don't know who this guy is, but this guy seems pretty smart. J Trader, the pro maker. Okay, automatically hate this guy now. Yeah, this is like his Tinder profile picture. We're not doing that. We're not going there. But he does look at this. He's publishing lots of cool charts and crap. I like that. I mean, he doesn't need to do this. This doesn't need to, and when you hold your hands in front of your stomach like this, you're I don't know. It's like you're waiting for your girlfriend to pay at the gas station for everything. That's what you're doing. You're just keeping your hands out of your pockets. Anyway, this guy seems reasonable. I like the analysis. It's 100% true that you look at Dilution Tracker to see if this company is perhaps going to issue more shares and then tank the stock. I like that he is waiting 30 minutes. I do like that. It doesn't look like there's any particular news. It's just an agriculture play. I don't know why he's going to wait necessarily for for 30 minutes. I think, we're already at a level. This is already going. The float is low. Um, this is a buy trade. Let's see where this might go. Let's just get on with it here. So Dave, on the YouTube channel, nice to have you here, and I really appreciate your stuff. So Wolfgang, good morning. Joe, are you going to get trade live today on YouTube? I don't know if I'll take a live trade. I'm already in some of the trades I want to be in. Dave Large, that's funny. You guys are funny. I love you guys. And cows. Everybody. Oh, gee, look at that. Oh dear. Let's see what the daily looks like, and then we'll break down some targets on this. So, oh, I already had it up. Next level is like 347, and then it's got to cross $6. I don't know if it'll get there, but the volume's increasing. 340 is, I don't want to say it's a lock, but that looks pretty good. Looks like you got a lot of people out there that love this one and that want it to go. The agriculture stuff's strong. It's like a commodity play. It's like a play on inflation and stuff like that. I like it. Volume's increasing. We're above the volume weighted average price. We did the sunrise smile. And then I just draw these fib levels from the pre-market high to the pre-market low. And I mean pre-market, not post-market. I mean pre-market. This, session here. And when I do that, I get some pretty good levels on where we might stop. I also will look at the daily chart and look for missed monthly pivots and stuff like that. But there aren't many of those because this seems to be a somewhat recent listing. And so we don't have a lot of those levels. 340 is probably going to happen now. The problem is if you buy this stock now at 325, you got to put a stop under 293 and your first target's 340. So your reward to risk is all jacked up. See what anybody says. See what anybody says about whatever. I also said, dang, I did. Oh yeah, I did say in the hot sheet. I did say that Agri was looking good. I like a buy trade above $3. So you can see here. There we go. That's a screenshot of the hot sheet. So I did talk about it. I just didn't start the broadcast early enough today. I got a little bit of a later start. As you know, I'm less and less enjoying waking up early, but so we started the broadcast maybe a little bit later than we normally would. Now, can you still get in on this at some point in time? That's the $50 question, right? Yeah, you could buy it above 333. You're taking a bit of a risk, but we could work out where there might be some levels that you can protect yourself if you want to do that, and where you could place a stop maybe. You're just going to have a jacked up reward to risk ratio is all. I love it. I don't hate it. I think it's a great play. It's got a lot of people behind it. And we're about to look at the news on this as well to see if anything happens. I'll place an alarm here just in case it does go, and then we get to see it. RIBT, how you doing? That's not doing. That's not. Oh, what a bummer. So that's the one I have, of course. Let's just look at the news here on. Is there any other news that we want to see here? Bull bias. U.S. Europe to improve food chains after India bans wheat exports. No wonder this stuff is. So 2 great plays straight from the daily watches. So there's a lot of people that, bear trap manipulation type 1 and 2 commonly used by big hands. I don't know why this guy uses these terms. See, this is the kind of thing I just can't stand. Who want to trap early short sellers and stop out long traders, low float, high volatility, induce traders to be slaves of trap patterns. Be wise and study these. Ugh. All right, I'm going to reach out to this guy. If any of you know him, tell him I want to do a podcast with him, and then I can get over myself. Agri, wheat, food shortages in wheat. So Agri is a wheat play. Got it. So it's just about this India banning wheat exports. Jeez. So there you are. It's already broken this stuff. This thing is just flying today. It doesn't seem like this is going to end. When the latest candle is the highest volume, you got to love it. You got to love that. So you just want to see volume staying now near 1,000,000 shares. You want to see it stay there. It won't necessarily do that every time, but you want to see it stay near there. And 11 million shares on the float is absolutely beautiful. That's not a double body top, so that's actually it's pretty nice. It'll just retrace a bit. Maybe we'll get a chance to buy it on a dip. I'm not buying anything today. I got everything that I need. I don't need any more stuff in my portfolio. I have some gold calls, as you know, I keep doing. I have a swing on ITP, which I'm going to dump. I have some shares on Ribbit. I have VRAR, had some good news yesterday. That's a swing. And then I do own some BBIG, probably doing fine. And when I get close to something near, not even exactly at my entry on BBIG, I'm just dumping this. So I'm not going to keep that for long. And then I go back to doing some of the things that I do best and walk away from the rest. BRQS is garbage. I mean, I'm just unflagging it. It's below the VWAP. The volume is decreasing, and it's got 126 million shares on the float. IMPP is an energy situation, but energy's kind of had its day in the sun and maybe needs a little bit of a pullback. I think you probably, Occidental's probably going to have a little bit of a rest. USO, how are we doing? It's not bad. I just think some of this needs to rest a bit. Anyway, IMPP, I'm taking that off my scan for now. CEI Energy as well. There's a lot of people that bought this. There's a lot of these stock pump and dumpers that have this, but the float's too high for me, 300 and X million shares. So I just don't do that one. MKD, I don't know anything about this, and I can't get a float reading on TradingView. So let's just see if we can get Yahoo Finance to tell us what the float is. It probably won't give us a really useful number or any at all. And then I can try to pull up the Bloomberg if I have to. Float's 100 million shares. Yeah, not a fan. It's fine. It's a little bit better than others. Okay. GNUS is dropping to the VWAP. Here's the real moment of truth for this is, can it bounce off the volume weighted average price? Does it bounce or does it go? India is the next center stage of the world. What do you reckon? Yeah, I would guess that's true. It's kind of, a lot of people don't think about it, but it's true. I once had an opportunity, by the way. I had an opportunity to be the lead trade caller in a WhatsApp group with like 2 million people from India, and the deal fell through. I think I'm going to look that guy up. I wonder if he still got that group out there. And I was like, I don't know. I've never sent a message to 2 million people simultaneously. And then I just realized, I bet they would all respond. I bet I would have 2 million messages in my inbox. Anyway. Now GNUS is underneath the volume weighted average price. That's a bummer. We don't want to see that. NIO. I don't like the stock, and I never have. I never have. I never liked it. But they are probably the closest thing you can get to, I don't know, maybe production-wise. How many cars? How many electric cars is NIO shipping a year? 24,000. That's actually in a quarter. That's actually, they're probably as good at delivering electric vehicles as any other company underneath Tesla. That's pretty awesome. Good for them. And then ACST still looks like that might go. When you see this, Dave, I always pick somebody, Dave. Sorry, it's you. When you see this pattern here, this sunrise smile, there's potential for this to be a stock that runs for the rest of the day. So Agri, I think, is giving it a shot. This is not dropping that far. It will at some point just crater, but it's not looking like it's happening yet. Let me show you what I look at when I look at Dilution Tracker. So Dilution Tracker is, I used to have a membership to this website, and I actually don't think it's necessary, but what it tracks is whether a company needs cash, has space, or filings already done that allow it to issue more shares. and its historical likelihood that it does it. So when a company jumps like this, that's not necessarily doing well overall, and they have a little bit of good news and the tide changes a little bit, what the company will sometimes do when the stock pops is they will issue more shares, raise money, give a bonus to some executives and whatnot, and they'll have more money in the bank to continue. The pharmaceutical stocks, the really, really small ones, will do this sometimes. But because they're issuing more shares, but they're not necessarily making more money, the market cap stays the same. So it's still $100 million market cap or whatever. But now they have 200 million shares outstanding instead of 100 million shares. So each share is worth half as much as it was before. And so there you go. Let's see what's Veru. What's all about. What's this? Okay, so this one, like Veru, has a low likelihood, doesn't need cash, doesn't have a likelihood historically of diluting the stock. It doesn't have a lot of room to do it. Excuse me, it does have a lot of room. It has a high, if it wants to, it can file some stuff, and the overall risk is low. Agri, on the other hand, has a really high cash need. They will probably, that's what that dude, that's what that bro was saying. That's what that guy was saying. He was saying, watch out. So that's why you see some of these jump pre-market and then just absolutely crash because they'll issue more shares. And they don't really do the announcement until later on in the afternoon most times. They'll do it after the stock market closes a lot of times, or right before it closes. Anyway, let's see if it drops down to the VWAP, because if it drops down to the volume weighted average price and then prints a green candle, we might get a chance here to do this. How are you, Ribbit? Okay, just need you to keep going. All right, anything else in the old trade room? How's everybody doing? Thomas is in there. Cavill, Jeff had some Cavill. John, oh, Chat Guy bought Agri. No wonder. I'll give you some info in that in just a moment. So, John, anything else you got? Redbox moving up, not in. RDBX. What was the big news on Redbox? That it bought someone else, right? It bought a company, right? I can't remember. Short screens, blah blah blah. Redbox is, I can't remember what it was, but there was some news like they had bought someone else. This is up today. Look at that move yesterday. Redbox is worth about, I don't know, 50 cents, right? It's not a really valuable company. Yesterday's high post market is $4.03. I'm not in this either. Let's see what the daily chart looks like. Okay, we're right underneath a monthly pivot. Probably we'll pause there. And the 200-day simple moving average is at $7.22. If it really starts moving, that's where it wants to go. So let's go back to Agri, and some folks had Chat Guy Long. So long story short, long story long. A bunch of us will monitor different chat rooms and stuff, which I don't necessarily show on the broadcast every time, especially if it's a paid room. I don't show it because I'm not going to show it and then sort of let people who aren't paying for it see it. The other thing is I don't even log into some of these anymore at all. Chat Guy Long references Ross Cameron from Warrior Trading. Never met him. I would really like to. I would really, if anybody knows him, I would very much like to meet him and catch up with him. He's been through a lot this year, and I'm not saying he's good or bad. I just would like to meet him. He has such an influence on the market, and when Ross Cameron buys a stock, he will buy a ton of it. And a lot of times there will be a bunch of people that follow that trade and jump in as well. And here in the old Sunrise Club, we have somewhat of a history every once in a while of getting into a trade before he does. And that would have been the case this morning. Some of you in the Sunrise Club, some of you bought Agri, and then, and to a certain extent, some of this is self-referential. After a while, some of those people are looking at what we're buying, and then they're buying it, and then they're buying it, and then other people are looking at it. And so some of it is very, very circuitous and self-referential. I just like to look at the things that I said. I like to look at good news, an industry that might be growing, a sector that has growth potential, some fundamental reason behind it. I like to see some volume. I don't generally trade these. I like to watch these with you. I would rather have skin in the game and say that I believe in it enough to have a share or two or whatever. But I don't like to do that. I like to avoid the implication that I bought it and I'm expecting you to buy it too, and then it goes up and then I sell it. I don't like that at all. Every once in a while, however, like with Ribbit, I will buy it and hold it for days, and it will languish at the same price for days and days and days. And I just don't think that's as big of a deal. If we sunrise smile on this thing, I am going to be very pleased. So let's talk about Ribbit just for a minute, because RIBT might run, it might not. It's looking like it's doing the thing where it just touches the underside of the volume weighted average price and then it can't continue. That's typical. More likely than not, remember, all trading involves a substantial risk of loss. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. I don't just say that just to blabber, 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 but most people don't make any money. Just remember that. Okay, just don't, like, following me or following anybody. Most people trade like degenerate gamblers and don't manage their risk. So just please be careful. This is probably just bouncing up against the underside of the volume weighted average price and will probably just drop from here all day, unfortunately, and probably stop me out as well. I hope it doesn't, but I'm just being transparent. But it traded at the same price for days. And so sometimes I'll start to buy something and I know that I'm not moving the price, and I can talk about it without sort of like moving anything, and I can start to accumulate some. And then if I publicly share my targets with you, you all know exactly where it is that I'm getting out. And so I like taking a little bit off the table if we get back to like 72, 73 cents. I like that idea if you're in already. However, if it gets there, I like the idea of not doing that, buying more at 73 cents and then holding out for like 75, 76, 79, 83. 83 is a really, really neat target for me. I very much like that target. I love 83 cents. If we really get going, then, a buck, that round number, but nothing ever goes to $1, right? It goes to like 96, 97 cents and then stops before it even gets there because people start to panic. But the more likely scenario is, unfortunately, that we will just hit the underside of this volume weighted average price and it will just drop for the rest of the day. So I don't like that. It's just the way things work, right? You could call me optimistically skeptical. I want the best, but I prepare for the worst as well. Agri is now just getting, everybody's taking profits. All these dudes are taking profit. Some days, the only reason the stock moves seems to be that Ross Cameron from Warrior Trading, chat guy, seems to be that he bought it. And then when he's done with it, he scalps these things. He's in and out. Like that guy must have like quick fingers or something. So sometimes that's what happens. There are days also where he will buy it and then he will keep accumulating it and it will just keep going. I would not be surprised to find out, and Matt may confirm this, I would not be surprised to find out that he bought GNUS this morning. I would not be surprised to find that out. Our Redbox was acquired. That's what it was. GNUS is maybe bouncing off of the volume weighted average price. That could be good. I hope it does. I know there's some of you that probably have some of that. Agri looks like it's just being left for dead. This is not good. We do not want to see this. We don't want to see it go below the volume weighted average price. The new pre-market high is all the way up here, so I moved my level. Sometimes I'll drop a pre-market low in there as well. How are you doing, RIBT? Okay, just doing what I said. It's what I said. the most aggressive buy that I could imagine for RIBT is at 68 cents, maybe above it. And that's if it, so the little candle shadow that bumped above the VWAP, if it goes above that, then it could continue. See if anybody else is check I long Veru. I do not like Veru, as many of you know. I think every time this stock goes up, it gets absolutely hammered, and not in the good way. So Veru is a pretty much worthless company, reports wider fiscal losses, 64 million shares on the float, not trading a huge volume today. And it does, there are options on Veru. Like, you can trade options on Veru. So Thomas and I have done this. Others have done this. We have bought puts on Veru, and we have kind of a history of when this thing jumps, we will buy puts. So, and I really very much like doing that. we like to do that. So anyway, we will be looking at that today. I prefer it to jump and then drop below the volume weighted average price before I do stuff like that. And I prefer to just sort of only look at it every few days. But it will tend to do some of this stuff. Let's get some new targets in here. Why don't we do that? Why don't we get some levels in here? So these are all levels at which I might consider buying some puts. Go back in time here. I might even just go to the 60-minute chart really quickly, and then we can look at it. So it's been running. That's been running hardcore. That's interesting. So, hey, good for anybody that loves this stock. Good for them. Good for them. It's fine. It's fine with me. I don't have any. Ribbit, you are holding up mightily here. Maybe we need to, consider that could continue a bit. Still have puts, and we'll buy more on Veru. Have to wait for the longs to exhaust themselves. Yeah. We looked at dilution tracker on Veru, didn't we? So it has all these lows. It's all low. I'm kind of surprised, but that's fine. I'm going to do it again. I'm going to take that trade again as well. Not necessarily today, but maybe. What will not inevitably happen, but it's not a company that makes money. It doesn't seem like it. I mean, we can check the news out and we can see if there's anything really nice happening. Let's see here. See what happens. Okay, so just let's look at some statistics to start things off. Negative profit margin, negative operating margin, negative return on assets, negative return on equity, revenue, losses, EBITDA is negative, and then negative cash flow. That's the number one thing that I will look at. If you have negative cash flow, you can't buy back the stock. You can't reinvest anything. You don't have money that you can put into research and development or investment. You are not making money, so you're not getting a return on invested capital. And at some point in time, you will not be able to pay your debts. The issue with Veru, and we have looked at this before now that I remember it, is that they have $10 in the bank for every dollar of short-term debt they have. So they are able to pay the interest on their debt. That's a big deal. So they're going to have to exhaust that a bit. All right, what else is going on inside there? Nothing. I don't see anything else going on right now. So with that said, I love the heck out of y'all. Super happy to spend some time with you. For those of you that are brand new here, it has been a joy to spend some time with you. And thanks for being here, everybody. Looks like we had a nice group. Never been able to catch a live webinar this year. Hope all is good. Hi, Joseph. Well, you're here live. That's great. Welcome. And if you enjoyed it, drop the old comment underneath it, especially on Facebook, because I can see those. And Facebook just ends up filling up with spam comments. I think you've seen that before. So just be careful. Make sure you don't respond to any of those. And if you're in the chat rooms and stuff, I'll see you in there later on. But otherwise, good luck trading. today. I think we've laid out the plan. I still have my RIBT. I'm looking for it to jump to 72, 73 at least. And stops have to, for me, go under 50. But if you're buying it today, you might put a stop under 60. You might, if that's what you want to do. It's not trading advice. Do whatever you want to do. And I love the heck out of you. So good luck, everybody. Have a great day, and I will see you again. I don't know. I might jump in tomorrow. We might do this again tomorrow. So I'll see you then if we do it. Bye for now, everybody.